So here I go again, trying to record myself one more time. I've done this multiple times because my viewpoint is very scattered brained, and I keep it recording, and it makes less and less sense as I do it because I go back and forth, repeating myself over and over again. But allow me to begin one more time. So this video is mainly about the value in life, and more so the meaning of death or what happens at death. And I'm always on YouTube looking for videos, see if my ideas are common or relevant at all. Which usually I don't think I found anything of the sort. But I figured I'd make a video myself since it's not on there. I like to share ideas and I like to find people's ideas, look at them, critique them, maybe take something from it, maybe a lesson idea, philosophy, whatever. But let me to begin. I'm not going to show myself in the video. I think that's irrelevant. It's just gives you something else to judge rather than the idea I'm trying to get out there. So it's definitely not relevant. So the value of life. I think life is a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing actually. And love is amazing. Yeah. But the meaning of life, there really isn't one besides procreation. I think. I subscribe to the whole idea of evolution and genetic mutation and all that good stuff. Not really any religion or ideologies for immortality or a paradise, anything of the sort, or the immortal soul. But as far as life goes, it's a beautiful thing. I don't really think there's any reason, like a purpose behind it. Like there's no clear purpose, and there won't be unless you provide it yourself. And when you do, I'm sure you'll pursue it and be happy because that's what you want out of it. To always ask yourself, what is the meaning, what is the purpose? I think this is heading in the wrong direction. You should supply yourself with a purpose and then continue from there, and maybe you'll find happiness. You know. But okay, as for death, something I'm more interested in people's viewpoints, at least, not actual death itself. That's pretty morbid. But what happens when you die? A lot of people, like I said before, subscribe to the idea of gods, some sort of immortality, the immortal soul, something like that. Your soul will go on, or maybe there's a paradise or the hell or something. I believe those ideas are completely ridiculous, and I don't really know how people subscribe to them. Well, in a way, I guess I do, because there's a lot of information that we don't have. There's a lot of stuff we don't know, and it's easy to fill in the gaps in information with something which says it's a know-all. It has all the answers supposedly. So I guess it's easy to subscribe to that, especially because death is, I guess, such a mystery to us because it's the end, and that's something we have a hard time wrapping our heads around. So I guess it is easy to believe in that respect. But allow me to explain my own beliefs about the end of it all, and if it really is the end. I personally believe, over changing my beliefs a lot, I used to believe something quite absurd, or would consider it to be absurd. At least it is to me now. But my ideas have evolved. But what I believe is that we are immortal, but not in the way people really see it. We're immortal in the fact that we are human. We are the product of the human machine, like any other organism, any other creature that exists. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I mean the mind is created through the machine, which is the human, the brain. We are the product of that. We are the product of our environment. We pick up things, we learn things. Our past experiences shape the new ones. We use those to judge the new ones. And we occasionally fill in the gaps of information with ridiculous ideas or continue wondering. And when you die, I think, well, of course, when you die, you're gone. You're gone. You're done. Done deal. It's a wrap. I suppose there's not much speculation on that. But I believe it's not the end, because what created you was the human machine, and the human machine is constantly being created over and over again. It may feel like it is the end and there's no coming back from it because your viewpoint is solitary. You only know one way, you know? And I suppose it doesn't get much more complicated than that. Like, say John Doe dies. John Doe was the specific person. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm spitballing this. I'm not really reciting this from paper. But he was this specific person, and people loved him, but he died. And what do they really miss? Say if he lost a limb, would they mourn the limb, saying he was still alive? No, because that's not him. It's not his mind. People recognize the mind, not the actual being itself, though it does complement the mind. And now say he dies, he's gone, machine's gone, mind's gone. What is that then? What do you have? Yeah, he's dead, but will he live again? I guess if you look at it, no, because that specific way of thinking, you know, won't ever exist again. I'm sure you'll find somebody with like who reminds you of him, having little things about him what are similar but never the same. You know, just like with our emotional spectrum. You know, a lot of different events will happen during life, but the outcomes on the emotional spectrum is the same, and you can easily sympathize with somebody or empathize. You know, I guess it's harder to explain than I actually thought, but when you die, and you will die, you will live again, but not as what you think you will be. You won't be yourself again. You won't be that person. You won't be Jacob Smith or whoever the fuck you are. You won't be that again. That specific way of thinking, that person everybody knew, you know? You'll be something new, depending on the genetic outcome. You may be more prone to anger or whatever. The fuck, it's a lot more harder to explain than I initially thought. But my idea doesn't get much more complicated than that. When you die, it's game over. You live again because you are the product of the human machine. The machine made the mind, and the mind is subject to the environment and everything else. Upbringings, teaching from your mother, father, whoever you find to be a big influence on your life. That helps create who you are, how you decide things. You use the past information to judge the new one. You make up new information. You may get rid of the past stuff and then continue on. Just like, say you met somebody who was you in the past, but they have a different face. You know what I mean? They bear a different face. Would you recognize that person to be yourself, assuming that you had much change throughout your life? No, none of the memory side of any of that person at all, but would you recognize them? Maybe, maybe not, depending on how much you change, like I said. And what does that really mean? Does that mean that who you were essentially died? Well, you changed, of course. You haven't died, because you still recognize yourself to be that person from your experience learned. But I give up on trying to explain it. I'm gonna like keep on running around in circles, and it's gonna make less sense, and no one's gonna listen. So if you have, thank you, and critique me all you want to. Put your own ideas. I'm interested. Thanks.